Hello and very warm welcome at Amish Shackle 5858. I am Amish Shackle. Foreign news have been reported by American, European, Asian, African, Australian news channels and the news agencies. So please, let's go to the headlines.
Your ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight there is breaking news as we come on the air. The new video message just in from Savannah Guthrie. Tonight, Savannah Guthrie's appeal to the public now, saying we're at an hour of desperation in the search for their mother, Nancy Guthrie. It comes amid a deadline sent by a potential abductor who had demanded millions in Bitcoin. Tonight, what Savannah is now asking of the public. Also breaking tonight, the Jeffrey Epstein case. Ghislaine Maxwell appearing virtually before a House committee, pleading the fifth. Her lawyer tonight saying she is prepared to speak, quote, honestly, if granted clemency, and what her lawyer said about President Trump and President Clinton. Tonight, the dramatic images of plane crashing into a busy intersection. Moments, radio, air control. We're not going to make it. Please tell my wife I love her. Tonight, there's been a shooting by against classing for the day. The new images tonight, the NFL star rookie arrested for facing charges tonight, accused of hitting an officer with his car and what he allegedly did to a WNBA player. American skier Lindsey Vonn tonight on the crash, just seconds into her Olympic run, airlifted to the hospital. Tonight here, just a short time ago, we have now heard from her for the first time. Tonight, for the first time, the video from inside Brown University, police sweeping the halls of the buildings there looking for that gunman. And what the video shows, the surfer surviving after being swept out to sea, what he held onto. The brutal cold and the change now coming from Chicago all the way to New York. And now a new clipper system bringing up to 6 inches of snow to multiple states. Your health tonight, 2 major studies on memory. Can coffee help fight off dementia? And the other study, can a video game actually protect your brain from dementia? What researchers have learned tonight. This evening, actress Catherine O'Hara and her
Hello, you're watching Sky News. I'm Nick Horatio. Here are the headlines at 5. As police consider if the former Prince Andrew should face a criminal investigation over his links to Jeffrey Epstein, Buckingham Palace says the King is profoundly concerned and ready to support detectives. Prime Minister's offered a lifeline by Labour MPs after the party's Scottish leader says it's time for Starmer to over Peter Mandelson's links to Epstein. Sex offenders' former girlfriend Ghislaine Maxwell angers members of the US Congress as she refuses to answer their questions about him unless she's granted clemency by President Trump. Also, the desperate search for a missing mother. US TV host Savannah Guthrie help for the face of vampire. Archaeologists rebuild the identity of a man beheaded more than 400 years ago. Why? Very good morning to you. Welcome to Sky News. Buckingham Palace has released a statement which says the King stands ready to support police in investigating claims against Andrew Mountbatten.
Till 11 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Yasmin Yonkers at this hour. Australia's Prime Minister and New South Wales officials defend police actions after clashes erupt amid Israeli President Isaac Herzog's controversial Australia visit. The US reaches a new trade deal with Bangladesh, cutting tariffs to 19%, just days before the country heads into a closely watched election. Bangladesh heads to the polls this week, and the spotlight is on young voters, many who were part of the student-led uprising that forced political change. I'm Afifa Arifin in Dhaka, and we'll take a closer look at how the voices of youths could shape the nation's future. And Singapore upgrades its 2026 GDP growth forecast to between 2 and 4% from an earlier range of 1 to 3%. The revision comes after the economy expanded by 6.9% in the fourth quarter of 2025, signaling stronger momentum heading into next year. Australian authorities are defending police action after yesterday's clashes with demonstrators.
David.
Today, the New South Wales Premier under fire for defending police action during a protest against the Israeli president's visit.
At the end of the day, New South Wales police are not punching bags.
This was excessive police force and extreme police brutality.
Sydney school children welcome Isaac Herzog on the second day of his Sydney tour. Warnings of flash flooding in the Gascoyne region after ex-tropical cyclone Mitchell crosses the West Australian coast. And Australia's Holly Harris and Jason Chan through to the next round of the ice dancing competition at the Winter Olympics. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Ross Childs. The New South Wales Premier has defended the actions of police at a protest in Sydney. Videos from the scene show violent clashes during the demonstration against Israeli President Isaac Herzog's visit. 27 people were arrested, including 10 for allegedly assaulting police. 10 officers were injured. 500 police personnel were sent to the city centre, with 3,000 officers stationed elsewhere. Premier Chris Minns says police were put in a difficult situation.
New South Wales Police's proportionate response was designed to keep the public safe in incredibly difficult circumstances. What you saw last night was New South Wales Police being confronted multiple times by a section of that crowd intent on disturbing and disrupting police lines.
Africa News. The news.
Tanzanian Foreign Minister Mahmoud Kombo and his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov hold talks in Moscow. During the meeting, Kombo delivered a letter from Tanzanian President Samia Hassan addressed to the Russian President Vladimir Putin, the latest sign of strengthening ties between the two countries.
Once again, thank you and His Excellency President also, together with the whole team from your side, for elevating our strategic cooperation, and that was mentioned in the President's speech when she was speaking to the world via all the diplomatic missions and international organizations in Tanzania.
Russia and Tanzania have expanded cooperation in recent years across defense, trade and energy.
I would like to express our satisfaction with cooperation between Russia and Tanzania and the international organization, the United Nations first of all, but also in the context of Russia-Africa strategic cooperation. We are now discussing the timing and venue of the third Russia-Africa summit.
The talks come as Russia steps up engagement in East Africa, with Tanzania emerging as a key partner, moving to trade in national currencies, bypassing the dollar, and launching direct Moscow-Dar es Salaam flights. Tensions are rising in the Horn of Africa after Eritrea forcefully rejected Ethiopian claims that its troops are operating inside Ethiopian territory. Asmara called the accusations false and fabricated after Ethiopia demanded Eritrean forces withdraw. accusing them of backing insurgents fighting federal troops, particularly in the Amhara region. Eritrea's information minister says the allegations are part of a hostile campaign against his country and insisted Eritrea has no desire to escalate tensions. Relations between the two neighbors have long been volatile. Eritrea gained independence from Ethiopia in 1993, but the countries later fought a brutal border war that killed tens of thousands. Although Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed once pursued peace, earning a Nobel Prize, the alliance fractured after the Tigray War, which killed at least 600,000 people. Disputes over troop withdrawals, rebel alliances, and Ethiopia's push for sea access continue to strain an already fragile relationship. In Tanzania, opposition pressure is mounting after Chadema's deputy chairman, Don Heche, was arrested outside the High Court in Dar es Salaam. Heche had gone to attend the treason trial of party leader Tundu Lissu, who was detained in April and could face the death penalty. His lawyer says party members are now barred from visiting Lissu, raising fresh concerns over political repression.
But what has happened from the 12th of November 2025 to this day?
Cuba's impending crisis this Monday night. Why Air Canada is now suspending flights to the island.
We knew there were problems.
And what it means for tourists trying to get out. Catherine O'Hara's cause of death. The medical examiner reveals how the beloved Canadian acting legend died. Ransom deadline.
We are at an hour of desperation.
Guthrie's 11th hour message to the public and the latest on the search for her mother. Plus, a celebration of diversity.
We need to feel the visibility.
Why Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show was much more than just a concert.
Global National with Donna Friesen. Reporting tonight, Jeff Semple.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Cuba has long been a popular winter holiday destination for Canadians, but Air Canada is now suspending all flights to the Caribbean nation after Cuban officials said they expect the island's main airport to run out of fuel as early as tomorrow. Cuba has historically relied on fuel from Venezuela, but U.S. President Donald Trump is now blocking those exports. Air Canada says it's sending empty planes to the island to bring thousands of Canadian travelers home. Taria Isri has our top story tonight.
Air Canada is
We knew there were problems, but escalating as it is right now.
Canceling for the rest of the season to one of the main travel destinations for Canadian tourists.
You're seeing power shortages. Generators are not having enough fuel. You're seeing cars unable to gas up. You're seeing, airports, shutting down.
The Cuban government warned international airlines jet fuel would no longer be available as of Tuesday. In a statement, Air Canada says it will operate empty flights southbound to pick up approximately 3,000 customers already at destination and return home, while other carriers say they're offering flexible rebooking or cancellation options. There are millions of Cubans who can't leave, with the country's economy in freefall, its electric grid failing, and oil reserves drying up.
The Secretary General is extremely concerned about the humanitarian situation in Cuba, which will worsen, if not collapse, if its oil needs go unmet.
After the United States captured Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro, the Trump administration blocked Venezuelan oil shipments to Cuba and threatened to slap tariffs on any nation sending fuel there.
It's a failed nation now, and they're not getting any money from Venezuela, and they're not getting any money from anywhere.
For money, Cuba relies heavily on tourism. This Montrealer traveled to the country with his father and hopes their WestJet flight leaves on schedule.
50% of the resort are Quebecers, and the other 50% are from Ontario. It's like 99% Canadians here.
Uncertainty for tourists and locals as cancellations deal a new blow to an already fragile economy. Taria Isri, Global News, Montreal.
The cause of death for Canadian acting legend Catherine O'Hara has now been revealed.
Joe died last home in L.
Headline kidnapping case has officially expired. Hours Anna Guthrie posted a video asking the public for information. Over the weekend, the family reported a different video that Nancy's alleged kidnapper agreeing to pay the $6 million ransom. Authorities work around the drain pipes behind us, and police were seen in her house bag after a search. Randy Sutton's a retired lieutenant and detective and the founder of the Wounded Blue. Randy, so they're back, I guess, for the second time at the sister's house. She's a motto. What does that indicate to you?
Well, what it tells me is that they are clearly looking for some connection. Now, it's also my understanding that they utilize the consent search in order to go back into that property, and I find that rather unusual too, because if they did in fact locate anything that might be incriminating, it causes legal issues down the road. That's why search warrants are the way to go when you're talking about, especially an investigation of this magnitude. So the consent search, should they have found anything incriminating, it could be thrown out in court later on. So I found that a little bit concerning. Also, when you look at the timeline here, as the individuals were in the residence, it does not really play well with the ransom idea. And so I'm thinking that the entire ransom issues here may very well just be a red herring trying to throw off the investigators and have them look elsewhere as opposed to the normal places where people look, and that is relationships.
Wait, why would you say the timeline leads you to question the whole ransom thing?
Think about it, Jesse. If you're going to kidnap someone, especially for ransom, you're going to get in and you're going to get out. And that is not apparently what happened here. There was time spent in that residence, and that to me spells out that there was something else going on in that residence. Perhaps they hurt her in some way where they didn't intend to, and then tried to deal with it, and eventually made the decision to take her out of the house.
So go back to this search warrant. So you're saying they didn't go to a judge and get a search warrant. They got a consent order, which is basically, the daughter and the husband say, yeah, you can come on in. But you're saying that wouldn't be whatever they found incriminating, wouldn't be admissible?
Thank you for watching. I'm Shakil 5858. I hope you will come again. Have a good life. Bye-bye.